All right, so I am Tori Benitez. So kind of to start, I originally joined Cincy in November of 2014, and I left and I came back in July 2018. So I only stuck around for about a year. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when I originally came back, it was a completely different season for me. It was a completely different where I was in my life and just in general kind of going through. So when I originally joined, it was more, I was a librarian. I wanted buddies. Buddies was the only thing I purchased when I first started Cincy, because I wanted them in my library. So, and I'm a huge Cincy buddy person. Like if you ask any of my team, that's one of my biggest sellers are the kids products. My Cincy buddies is what I sell the most of. And I think that's because buddies was where I originally started with Cincy. I just wanted to continue to fill my library with buddies, wanted it to smell good and not smell, bad with all the kids running around in elementary school. So that's where I started. And then I did sales. My friends and family supported for a little while. I never met my I never knew who my director was. I never knew who my star director was. I never knew who my superstar director was. Like I didn't know any of that. All I knew was my sponsor, who was my roommate at the time. That's the only way that I kind of signed up on that side of it. So first and foremost, if you're here, that means you have somebody that's looking out for you in your business. So be grateful for that because you are here and you're pouring in and you've been invited by someone who wants to invest in your business. Okay. So that's number one. So I got like top sales little postcard things from this person that I had never known before I fell off, all that good stuff. Then I came back in July 2018. So I had my daughter 2 months early. I had her in May of 2018, and she was in the NICU. And when she was in the NICU, it was very hard for me because that's all I was. I was a NICU mom. I also had my older daughter at the time too, but my time was spent in the NICU from the time I woke up basically until I went to sleep. My husband would trade off with me so I could go home to spend time with my oldest, and he would stay a few hours at night to be with our baby in the NICU. She was there for a month, hardest month of my life. And during that time, it was one of those transitions for me where I became just a mom. Like it was literally the only title I had. I had lost who I was as a person. I wasn't really talking to anybody. I wasn't really meeting people. And so again, I still was using Cincy, but I was at a meeting for teachers, and the lady sitting across the table from me had the Cincy Go. It was new. I had no clue what it was, and she was talking about Cincy and this, and then I'm like, what is that? I have not seen that before. So we started talking. I got her information. We met up for dinner, and I reinstated, think that night, under her, which then brought me into a new family, and the rest is history from there. So I'm going to stop on that little story, but I wanted to give y'all that background because a lot of people don't believe in reinstates. They kind of get pushed to the side because they think, oh, well, they've already done this, so they know what they're doing and they know all of this. Well, take it from me. I knew nothing about anything in this business when I first started, still knew nothing about this business when I reinstated until I had someone kind of walk me through kind of what it was, met up with somebody, talked with people, started joining training, started doing that, went to my first SFR, which was Austin. After I went to SFR in Austin, I promoted to director the next spring and star director the next fall. So it was literally, it was like reinstated, worked my business, went back to doing all of the things that you should do when you first join, but didn't know about those things. So we're going to kind of really go back to the basics when I say back to the basics today. We're going to go back to when we first joined. So I know some of you don't have cameras on, but I kind of want to ask, who has been here for 70 days or less? Do we have anybody on the call 70 days or less? Okay, what about 6 months or less? No. A year or less? All right, so everybody's been here over a year, looks like. At least nobody was raising their hand or saying anything in their chat or anything. So, okay, so everybody is really probably looking forward to what I'm having to say. So I really hope I don't disappoint y'all in what I'm gonna say, because looks like everybody's ready to do a refresh, which is something that I'm excited about doing for my own business as well. So one of the biggest things is when it comes to our business, we're constantly hitting road bumps. We're constantly having to pivot our business when it comes to, oh, well, my sales aren't working. Oh, my team isn't growing. Or, you know, what I did last year isn't working this year. Or I have something coming up. I can't do what I did last year. So I need to make this pivot and make it work for me. Okay. And so pivot's a big word for me. It has been before this past SFR, but this SFR that we just had, it really put it into perspective. We are constantly pivoting in our businesses. We are constantly having to adjust. How many of you guys were here before COVID? Okay. How many of you were here after COVID? Ray! Sorry, guys, I got really excited. Ray's here, guys. She's in England, so it's like 1 a.m. or something like that over there. So like, but I'm excited to see her. Okay, sorry. Squirrel. So when COVID hit, those of us that have been here, we had to pivot. Okay, we had to pivot the way we worked our business, because a lot of us, we're doing home parties, we're doing basket parties, we're doing fundraisers, we're doing vendor events in person. COVID hit, we couldn't do that anymore. Okay, then those of you that joined during COVID, you had no experience with any of that. You never did a home party. You never did a basket party. You never did a fundraiser. You only worked your business online. Okay, so now we're in this in between where there's stuff happening in person again, but people are still working their business online too. So now we're in this in between where we're trying to meet everything together. People are ready to get back in person. People are ready to start doing parties again, but have no idea how to do that. And so that's where, going back to the basics, Scentsy was originally started as a home party company. Like that's what we did at the very beginning of this company. It was just taking our business, taking samples, taking, our pieces into people's homes and having that house party. And we've completely gone away from that. And it's something that we need to get comfortable doing again. I completely got off track what I was talking about, but that's okay. Okay, so for this back to the basics, something I want to challenge you guys. I was talking about everybody's been in this for over a year. So what I really want to challenge you guys to is go back to when we first started and work your business like you are a new consultant. Who can tell me what it is that gets new consultants excited about their business? What are those first couple of things we are shooting for at the
Making money.
Shooting star.
Shooting
Sensational
star.
Sensational start.
Yes. So what I want to do and what I want to challenge you guys to do is every single month, I want you guys to go back to that basics and shoot for shooting star. 500 PRV by the 15th. Okay. Again, we're starting back at the basics. We're going back to the beginning. I don't know how many of you hit that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Completely honest. When I first joined, I didn't even know shooting star and sensational start was something that was an option. Had I known that, I probably would have worked a little bit better in my business. But now that I do know this, it's something that, as going back and looking at things, it's like, okay, if we start off our business the first 15 days and we shoot for 500, and we're asking our newbies to do that when they first join, why aren't we doing this every single month? Why aren't we pushing to do that as a leader or just as a consultant? Why aren't we pushing ourselves to hit those numbers for shooting star within those 15 days? That should be our goal. So that's going to be one of those mind shifts. Okay. Some of you are probably thinking, Tori, you don't know my business. You don't know that, I haven't hit 200 in 6 months. Okay, that's the past 6 months. We're talking about now. Okay. Yes, we're in the middle of January. So February 1st, I want you to go in and I want you to put it in your head that you're going to shoot for that 500 by the 15th. Now my team is on here. My team knows I don't say 500 by the 15th on my team page. I say 500 by the 5th. That is my challenge to them every single month, is to hit 500 by the 5th. I'm being a little nicer with you guys because, I don't know y'all that well. But 500 by the 15th is shooting star. It's something everybody is pushed to do when they first join. All right. So that's the first thing, is going through shooting star. By doing 500 by the 15th, that's $33 a day for the 15 days. Okay. So that's basically a 6-pack of wax. I think we could do that, or a warmer. I think we can all push to sell that one day, every day, every single day, shoot for that $30, 33 PRV a day to add it up. Now, does that mean that you have to input that $33 every single day? If you have those orders, you're collecting them because you're saving shipping or you're going on and doing those things, then you can still calculate and check that off. You got an order for $30 today. It may not be in your workstation yet, but it's still there. Okay, so don't beat yourself up every time you're looking at your workstation. Your PRV isn't where it needs to be, but you have orders you still need to go input. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second part is every 70 days, we should be restarting Sensational Start. We should be working our business like we are newbies and doing 70-day Sensational Start. Shoot for level 1, shoot for level 2, and shoot for level 3 in 70 days. I'm not saying to do that in a month. I'm saying for 70 days, we are going to repeat this process every 70 days. This is going to help us with our PRV, and this is going to help us with recruiting. Recruiting is huge when it comes to this business. And if you're not constantly doing recruiting and you're wanting to move up in this business, your business is going to stay still, because you can have 15 people under you, but if in 6 months you haven't added anybody else, half of those 15 are going to drop off. Half of those 15 are most likely not doing anything anymore. So you should be constantly adding into your business when it comes to recruiting as well, getting new people to come into the business. So for Sensational Start, we have level 1, which if you're just trying to boost your PRV, okay, if all you want to do is focus on your PRV, you're like, Tori, I don't want to build a team. I don't want to do that. Then I want you to focus on the first column, which is, I'm not working on a team. I'm just working on my PRV. So in your first 70 days for level 1 is getting 1,500 PRV. You want to push yourself even more. In 70 days, that's 3,000 PRV. Now, am I saying this is in 30 days? No, I'm saying 70 days. So this is longer than a month. This is longer than 2 months that we're doing this. And then level 3 is 6,000 PRV. Okay, so this one is something that you can work on now, because we're in January. So we can start January 1st because our PRV is still accumulating. So we could have started this January 1st and then move our way through to go and over the next 70 days and kind of keep up with it and see. Now, if you want to grow your business and the team aspect of it, then we need to make sure that we are doing level 1 is 500 and 1 active person. Now, you should have level 1 within the first 30 days, because remember, shooting star is the first 15 days. And so you already have that part. So now you need to work on recruiting somebody and getting somebody active. Okay, and then level 2 is the 1,500. PRV, and again, having somebody active. And then of course, level 3 is 3,000 with 2 active. So in 70 days, your goal should be recruiting 2 new people, period. I know, Ray, I know. I saw your comment. But by the end of those 70 days, you should have 2 new recruits. Okay, that's the number one thing if you're looking to build a team. And honestly, you should be probably doing more than that, but this is just to get us started. This is to get us going again, starting over back to the basics and doing all of that. And with that aspect of it, one of the things that I shifted, and I want to say it's been shifted around a lot in the different ways I've seen it. When we're looking at our prospects, one of the biggest ways to start talking to them is not buy, host, join. We need to have those conversations reverse. We need to have a conversation with asking people, do they want to join? You should always start with the opportunity, because if you start with buying, they can tell you no, they don't want to buy anything. And then that's just, you're done. But if you start with sharing that opportunity and they tell you no, then you can ask, okay, well, would you be interested in hosting a party for me? Getting this out to other people. They say no again, guess what? You still have something else to fall back on. Would you be interested in buying something? Okay. The number one rule here is you have to get used to hearing the word no. You're going to hear no more in this business than anything else. And if you don't hear no, you're not asking enough at all. Okay, so if you're not hearing people tell you no, you're not asking enough, whether it's to join, to host, to purchase. You're gonna hear no all the time. And it's just something that you're gonna have to get used to and build a thick skin on. If you get your feelings hurt when people tell you no, practice. Just keep practicing. It'll get easier, I promise. It'll get easier as people tell you no. The first couple no's hurt. They do. But I promise it's going to get easier. And the more you practice, the more comfortable you're going to feel asking and having those conversations. And then the more others. Yes, Ray.
I like to think about every time you go to the McDonald's drive-through and they say, would you like to supersize that? And how many times a day do they hear no? And are they bothered? Do they take that home? Do they cry about it? No, because actually they're just like, oh, sod it. Yeah. Is what it is.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I didn't even think about that. Yes, and just like Tammy said, no isn't always no. A lot of the times it's just not right now. So that's another big one to take away, because people may tell you no, and some people may say just not right now. You know, they may actually say those words, but most of the time they're just going to say no. So you just make a little note next to their name and kind of go from there, and maybe revisit them later. And then if they tell you no again, make a little note again, and then revisit them later, and then it might be a yes by then. You never know. So just keep having those conversations. And then if they say no to even buying, there's still another avenue that you can follow after the no of buying, and that's referral. You can always ask them to refer. Even if they don't purchase from you, you can always have them go back and refer you to somebody. Okay, whether that's if they know a realtor, ask them to give you the referral for the realtor. If they know somebody with kids or that's doing fundraiser, ask them for those referrals. There's always another spot. That's why I always say start with join, because then you have different ways that you can go through and keep asking them questions or keep asking them to help you in your business. Okay, what time is it? Okay. I did not rehearse. I have notes. I took lots of notes because I was like, I don't want to miss what I want to talk about. But I kind of got off my notes. So now I got to find where I'm at. Get used to hearing no.
Hey, one of my favorite things because I'm taking some notes because I want to be able to remember this as well. And my memory all by itself is not good. So I write down everything. I've got my phone on me half the time or a notebook and a pen, but that's just me. But one of my favorite things that you've said so far was those bite-sized pieces. I always say that. So I know it's a very strange saying. How do you eat an elephant? Have you ever heard that before? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And somebody told me that's disgusting. I'm like, I know, but you're missing the point. You're not listening to me. The whole point is you cannot stick an elephant in your mouth. It is physically impossible. But if you were to take a bite at a time, I mean, you actually would eat it. So when you had said 500 by the 15th just looks like $33 roughly a day, or a 6-pack or a warmer, that was a big light bulb to me. I can do that. I can do that a day versus telling myself, oh my gosh, I want to sell 2, 3, 4,000 a month. Well, maybe I can, but I don't know. What does that look like if I bring it down to even a daily task? So that was one of my favorite things I wanted to tell you that I love that you said.
Yes, yes. And I love doing that. That's one of my biggest things, especially even with the incentive. It's something that I love to break down and just break it into the little pieces. Do the little pieces when you're trying to accomplish some type of goal.
Hey, Tori, I just want to mention too that sometimes I would rather hear no from somebody who's not ready than yes, and from somebody who won't work.
Yeah.
So I would much rather hear the yes when somebody's ready and they're ready to go and they're ready to work their business, instead of somebody that's a yes person that may be like, yeah, sign me up. It's $20 this month. And then they never do anything with their business. To me, that's harder on me as a trainer and a leader than it is to hear the word no.
That is so true. I love that. That's very mature too, for you to say that. I once had a Sensei sister say, well, I don't just take everybody on my team that wants to join. And I'm like, why? Somebody wants to join? Heck yeah. But what she was saying was basically kind of like you just said. I don't want people just to say it and not mean it. And then at times it does feel like that training time can be wasted. So that's a very mature answer that you said there. I like that. Another one of my favorites was when you were talking about recruiting. I think that word has gotten a bad rap. I've been thinking about that a lot lately because that's something I'm trying to change in my own business, is just to do even more. And I think it's almost like the word party, right? You know how we practice sometimes not saying party. Would you like an online shopping link? I love that one. I do that one a lot. And I try so hard to not say party. And I kind of find that overall it works out better. But what about if we did, and this like literally just hit me like as I'm saying it, what about if we did the same thing with recruiting? Maybe even though we're going to do the same thing, don't say the word recruiting. I wrote in my notes, recruit really equals saying, who can I bless with this business? Yeah. If we truly just treat it like that, and that's kind of how I got my 2 recruits even last week. One of them is Hazel's horse trainer. And she literally looked at me. She's like, do you make money in this business? Boom. You're asking me questions about my business? Yes. Let's talk about that. And she was one of mine that we just flipped. And the important thing to me was, this is somebody for me that's going to be in my life for a really long time. And I can see us being friends for a lifetime. So I want to bless her. And that is truly, in this case, what I was thinking. I don't just want another teammate. Like you said, Christy, another head to count doesn't mean anything, but is this something that I can help them bless their family, bless their kids, take their life into another place? She eventually said she wants to quit her job one day and be able to do Scentsy full time. That is a blessing. If you can get to that point where you can do that, that is a blessing. So try to kind of take that word recruit out of your, dictionary and flip it over with the word bless. Who can I bless with this business?
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and I turned party into sip and snips. I do it coffee, wine, very successful on the sip and snips. And I have another one coming up very soon that it's in-house. And I joined in the middle of COVID, so I didn't know anything but the online parties. But the other thing is, I call them socials. I'd much rather be social. Not that I don't party, but I'm getting a little too old for that. So I just call them socials, and then we drink coffee or wine or whatever, and we just have a good time. So that's another idea, is just blessing somebody and then calling a party. a social.
Do the same thing. I call it a Scentsy social.
I love that. I do. I love that.
I ask people whether they will allow me to mentor them.
Yeah.
You don't need a team. You don't like when you say to someone, do you want to join my team? They don't know what that means. And they don't know what it entails. And because if you don't understand something, a word, that word becomes scary. And your first human reaction is absolutely not. Sorry, I went into English then. So use words that they know. I'm not saying that people are stupid. What I'm saying is if you use words that they know, they're more comfortable in saying yes or no. If you use a word they don't, then they will just say no.
Yeah. I like the way that y'all are thinking of changing those words, and I'm over here, I'm taking notes on my notes about that right now.
I think one of my favorite stories is how somebody said to me, oh, you make like the odd 20 quid, don't you? And I was like, all right, yeah. And then a few months later, I happened to be at theirs when my Scentsy pay came through and said, oh, look how much I've got. And she said, you told me you only got £20. I said, no, you told me that.
You told me that. I didn't tell you that.
That was a very big shock.
Yeah, I love it. So something else I wanted to bring up too, and I am 100% guilty on this. So my other leaders don't take offense when I say this because I'm guilty of it. One of the things that we have done since COVID and since everything has moved online and we've had to find all of these new apps and websites and programs and this and that, we are constantly shoving all of this down our team's throats. Okay. And like I said, I'm guilty. So I wasn't trying to point fingers at anybody. I'm pointing fingers at myself because it's something that I've done as well. I have shared Visly. I have shared Project Broadcast. I have shared, all of these different programs, when in reality, we don't need any of that, and that's part of the going back to the basics. We don't need all of these things to make our business work. We shouldn't have to be paying all this extra money to make our business work. When we go back to the basics, something as simple as, I literally just had it and it's gone. Where's it at? As pen and paper to follow up with your customers. This is for my other job. This isn't really for Scentsy, but I have one, but this was the closest thing to me. But just having something to follow up with your customers, as they place an order or somebody says that they want to host a party, write it down. You don't have to go in and, oh gosh, I need to schedule this, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. It becomes too much. And when we start sharing all of these different programs, it's not only overwhelming to us, it's overwhelming to our team. And like I said, I've learned this because I've been doing it. I've been trying to fix the issues. Amy went away. Everybody's been trying to figure out, how do I fix this? How do I go and do my follow-ups? How do I do that? Guys, go back to the basics. Print out something I started doing. I've literally been printing out my receipts. When a customer places an order with me, I'm printing out my receipt and now I have it in a folder. So now I have every single customer that's placed an order with me. And then at the end of the month, I go through and add those people to my Happy Mail list so that I make sure I get everybody, because I'm missing people if I'm not keeping up with it like that. You
Okay, yeah. Can I add to that?
Yes.
I love paper. Everybody knows I love paper. Tori knows I love paper. So talking about receipts, I do print out receipts and stuff like that too. But what I also do, and I actually have it on hand, And it's super easy. I've been doing this for like 1,000 years. Oh, I'm not that old. But I go to the contacts tab right now I did half of the month and I basically exported it to Excel. The ones that are in pink, they have Scentsy Club subscriptions, so I'm not going to send them the same thing as a Happy Meal. But this is what helps me keep track of who I sent the thank you cards to, who I follow up with, because at the same time that I'm checking in, hey, did you receive your Happy Meal? Also, I want to make sure that your order arrived in perfect conditions. Is there anything that arrived broken? Is there anything that I could like assist you with? Sometimes that, they're local and they don't like the scents and I can switch them for them. So that's, printing the receipts works out too. But if you don't want to waste a lot of paper, because I know everything's gone up, you can just I do it twice a month. Half a month I'll do one portion of my list, and then like in a couple of days I'll do like the rest. And I already have the Happy Mail ready to go for this half. And at the bottom I put when I mailed it, when I follow up, because if I don't have this, my mind, it goes away. And Tori and I were talking about this today. I'm one that's going back to basics with my team, with my customers. I feel that I've lacked a lot with my team. So going back to basics, it's great, but you have to have a system. Like Tori says, you have to have some sort of system like where you're following up, you know what I mean? And sometimes you get orders from that Happy Mail check, like, hey, did you get it? And stuff like that. So if you guys haven't done that yet, what I do is double click on the what is it called? I think it's last purchase. So it brings newest to oldest, and I just export it to Excel, clean it out, and then only use the columns that I need. And once the sheet is done and over with, I put it on a folder and I can always grab it later, because I am also having a hard time going back to the basics. Because I mean, I'm sure all of us know we were used to do the go, LTOs here and this and that this kind of fell up to the back burner. So just wanted to add that. I'm sorry I yapped too much, but I just wanted to.
You're good. No, you're good. Thank
Okay.
you. I like that customer report. I remember you talking about it at SD Summit, but I had never followed back up with you on how you ran it. So no, that was perfect because I just made that note on.
Yeah, and it's super easy, even for people that are not like computer literate, you know what I mean? It's just double tapping last purchase, exporting it, cleaning it, making it nice, and printing it out. That's it.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history because you have the phone numbers there. You can use Project Broadcast. That's what I've been using. Or if you want to go back old school and just text people, copy and paste, and kind of just follow up with everybody. So yeah.
And
the-
honestly,
go
when I
ahead.
started my business, that's what I did. And I killed myself to learn Amy, and then it went away. And now I'm like, how did I used to do this?
Trying
So
to get back. Yep.
just keeping up with the technology sometimes is not always the best route. Although I loved Amy and I miss it now that because I was getting so used to it. But going back to, I've told you that before, Tori. I just go back to reprinting the exported customer list and
Yeah.
sending my Happy Mail out the same way. So I do the same thing, Myra.
That's good.
And talking about Happy Mail, if anybody is super, super creative and wants to give ideas, I'm like desperately searching for new and exciting stuff to put in my Happy Mail. So
So because we're going back to the basics, I'm going to give a very basic Happy Meal idea, and then we can chat later about more Happy Meal stuff. Only because I know I go a little crazy with my Happy Meal, and Christy can nod her head yes because she knows how crazy I go with my Happy Meal. So very basic, because like I said, we're going back to the basic. We're not trying to break the bank. We're not trying to we're not trying to do that. We want to make this as easy as possible for everybody in the business, no matter where you're at. in your
I'm basic. Tori's not basic. I'm basic.
I'm there with Tori.
And I would be curious. Well, and I would also be curious to ask people here on this panel, who's full-time working another job versus working Scentsy full-time too, because I can guarantee you that if I did Scentsy full-time, I would give some extravagant Happy Meal too. Because I have that creativity in me, but because I have other priorities, my Happy Meal is very simple. It's pretty simple.
I work full-time and basically what I send them mine is I create a newsletter every month. I send them the flyer for the scent of the month with a sample. If there's something going on, I send them felt samples of those. And that's about it. I'm not gonna go and pay a bunch of money to send them stuff. And then and I get plenty of sales off of that. It's not a ton, but it's enough. But I'm not gonna break the bank every month sending out Happy Mail.
And one way not to break the bank, guys, too. One of the things I did when I first started with my thank you mails is I did so one, I did 2 separate Happy Mails. I don't know why I used to do this. I do it all together now. But I used to do a thank you within a week after they made the purchase. I had a thank you going out with a scent circle in it, and just a thank you note, all of that. And then for my Happy Mail, they would get something else. Well, now I've just merged it all together. So they're just getting everything at one time instead of doubling up on postage. Everything's going up. But when it comes to these scent circles, use your host credit to get the scent circles. Okay. You should not be paying for scent circles, period. Okay. And if you are, I know almost everybody on here was over a year old, but I gave this idea to some people and they were like, I never thought about doing this. If you don't have the money to spend your half off pieces, get bulbs. Get a bulb, 1 bulb at half off.
And a bulb is an upsell. That's your extra fries and your biggie cup. I mean, every time my customers order something, especially a warmer, I'm going to ask them every single time if they want a bulb. And if I'm getting it half off, now I'm making even more money.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it's something.
I have postcards. I think, is it coming out backwards?
No, it's good.
Thank you for ordering from my website, and then my website details so that people sit on the way to the person, the people delivering it, see my details. And then on the back, it says, it really means a huge amount when you order from a small business like mine. I'm an actual person doing an actual happy dance because of you. As a thank you, please scratch off this to see your reward. And then I have sheets of these, and it's just like 10% off under there. But that gets them from doing it on my website to doing it through me directly, so I can use my halfies and credit for it instead of not. I also have happy birthday cards. So once a month they go out, and again 10% off. But it's got all because everybody knows how to use QR codes now because of COVID. Everything has one of those slapped on.
No, I love that. That's very simple and very non-expensive.
The cheapest stamp, and it's the least effort. I find that people don't actually necessarily want confetti, and if they want a small bar of chocolate, they'll go to the shop and buy it. I'm their Scentsy rep. I'm not their chocolate rep. Does that make sense?
In my head, because I'm like, I put confetti and all that fun stuff on every mail. They must really hate me sometimes. Like, this girl.
I used to do it.
My house.
I used to do it, and then somebody sent it to me, and I was so mad when I opened it that I stopped doing confetti after that. It's like, no.
My upline or my superstar director sends Happy Mail every month, and I get something for her top 10 every month. And it all for 7 years that I've been in Scentsy, she's never missed confetti in her. And I've gotten to where, well, years ago, I stopped. I don't even open them. And I told her one time, I was like, I love you so much, but I had just bought a brand new 4Runner, what was brand new to me. And it was my dream car, and I loved it so much. I was so excited to get it. And I opened her confetti mail, and it was tiny little pieces. And my 4Runner leather seats had like these little tiny holes, like pinholes in them. And the confetti got stuck and wouldn't vacuum out of the pinholes. And I was so mad. And I texted her and I was like, I love you so much, but I'm never opening your mail again. I was like, you don't have to stop sending confetti, but I'll never open your mail again. And since then, she has started sending them in clear mailers. so that I can see my mailer, but I still get all the confetti. So it hangs on my fridge in a mailer so that I don't have to. But I gave somebody something the other day with confetti in it and they weren't happy. I was like, I'm going to try that. I'm just going to try it. And whoever, I can't remember who it was, but they expressed their
Dislike.
unhappiness. And I was like, I won't do that again. Sorry. I thought it brought people joy, but never mind. It doesn't bring me joy, so I don't know why I thought that, but
Yeah, no.
I love that.
Funny. Okay, so the other things I wanted to kind of just touch base on is I know, we talked about changing up our wording, change up, the way you're saying recruiting or the way you're saying party, you're doing that. But the next thing is the actual parties themselves. Okay. We have gone so far away from this. How many of you on here joined during COVID again? Like after COVID?
So I started in COVID. I started in May of 2020.
Okay. So
Me
with that,
too.
like I said prior, it's one of those things that you never saw a basket party except in a picture. You never
Right.
saw a bag party. You never saw any of those things. You never did an in-home party. So what is it supposed to look like? I get that question all the time. Somebody wants to do an in-home party. What do I do?
And I tried to do an in-home party and it turned into like all these girls like drunk and I'm like, dude, what the heck?
What did I
It
get myself
terrifies me to do an in-home party. I've never done one.
Yeah,
The
and
more they
somebody-
drink, the more they
Right,
spend.
right.
So hang
Yeah.
on to that.
I
Well,
love
that's
in-home
why
parties. Liquor them up.
I took my 11-year-old daughter and they're all drinking and that don't bother me. My husband drinks, but it was, all these adult words and I'm like, OMG, like just order, let me go.
Y'all can have fun. Let's just finish this party up and yeah. So
well, shameless plug, Tori, the next training, the one that I signed up for, if anybody, it's going to be on home parties because home parties are my jam. So if you want to, I have a whole outline that I created myself for home parties. So
I'm not going to go
Join
into
us
the home party piece. I'm going to leave that for her next training that we're going to add on to our playlist. So we're going to be creating a playlist for you guys so that we can share out all of our trainings that we're doing. So if you can't hop on to one person's training, you'll still be able to get the video because everybody's going to pick a time that works for them. So like if Ray does one, she's not going to do it at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
She's going to do it her own time. So just so y'all know, we're going to do these and they're going to be based on that person's schedule. So going back to that, so she's going to talk about the home parties a little bit more, but when it comes to like basket parties, guys, there can be basket parties that are as small as a pencil pouch to as big as a literal bag. Okay. You can go as big or as small that you want to do it. And it can be something that you put in these parties that they are keeping or something that you're getting back. So if you're giving them a little pencil pouch, I did these a lot. I just put a couple of testers in there, asked them what their favorite smells were, made sure to include those testers in them. I have 2 huge bags of testers. So I can give those away and not have an issue with that. So I'd put a couple of them in there. I'd put a catalog, some product sheets, order forms, a little pin, a scent circle, and be done. I didn't care if I got those back, the little pouches. Now my bag parties, the big bags that I did, I didn't have a problem. I don't have a problem getting them back. The only time I had a problem getting it back is when I decided to ship it to somebody. Why I thought that was a good idea, I have no idea, but I did. So that was not a good idea. But anybody that I have that's done just a regular bag party, I normally get, as long as I put it in my schedule to get it back, I go and I get it from them. I don't expect them to bring it to me. So I go and I get it from them. So as long as I'm doing that, it's fine. With everybody, I don't know, whose team are you on, Nat?
I'm on Holly's.
Yeah, everybody will be included on any of them. We're gonna share them with, so I create events and for all of my teams to see, like in the Facebook group, so that they can see when the trainings are, and then I'll share the recordings on to my teams as well. So everybody will be able to be invited to those. For the bag parties, a lot of people are, hold on, I'm gonna mute some people because I hear background noises. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Sorry, did the wrong thing. Hold on. Wrong person. Things are moving around. Okay, there we go. Okay, so with the bag parties, don't make it too much, but don't make it too little. Okay, you want to give them enough to be able to try. So some people put mini warmer and a wax bar. Okay, so if you think they're going to be a wax person, put that in there. If you think they have kids and they're probably going to do better with a wall fan, throw a wall fan in there with a pod. Okay, I used to throw the Scentsy Go in with pods, and that I would sell like crazy, but I had a lot of educators. My background is education. I had a lot of educators. Scentsy Go were my top seller. So it depends on your clients. If you know that they are a pet person, well, let me take that back. Let me just erase that. Ignore what I just said about pet, because yeah, we're going to ignore that. But if you know that they like to do laundry, I'm trying to think of something else. And you could throw in the laundry love stuff in there. Sorry, I had to retract because pet. But anyways.
Well, there are people that like to clean. I think they're a little strange myself, but the
Yeah.
bathroom cleaner, the counter cleaner, those are phenomenal for putting into those bags.
Yes, put them in there and let them try it. Don't just throw in little samples, throw in the bottle so they see how big it is. Also, so they see how much they're getting out of it. If you're not comfortable with doing that, then make the sample pieces for it. But
don't put the whole bottle in there. I grab one from my kitchen that I've already been using, throw it in there so they can try it. And that way you're not worried they're not going to give it back to you too, because it's a brand new bottle.
Correct.
They can see that other people have been using it.
Used. Yeah. So that they're not reusing or not using the entire thing.
I make mine fill in a form, and I take their card details and they sign to say that if they don't return it, it's got all the costs of everything above, that they authorize for the payment to be taken off their card. And not once have I ever had to do it.
Hey, I mean, that's a good way to make sure that you're keeping your stash on hand. I like that part. Okay. I have kept y'all way longer than I expected. So I am going to stop talking. If anybody has questions, we can do that, but I'm going to stop the recording also, just so that if y'all have questions, we can just chat. But